when a city could no longer breathe. In the summer of 1858, the heart of the British Empire was brought to its knees, not by war, not by rebellion, but by a smell so foul it made governing impossible. The River Thames, once a symbol of commerce and power, had transformed into a thick, toxic artery of human waste under the scorching sun. Members of Parliament fled their own chambers. Curtains soaked in chemicals failed to mask the stench, and panic spread through London's elite. This was the Great Stink, a crisis so severe it forced a reluctant government to confront a deadly truth. Their city was drowning in its own filth. A city built on waste. By the mid-19th century, London had become the largest city in the world, its population swelling past 2 million in a relentless surge of industrial growth. But beneath this expansion lay a hidden catastrophe. The city's infrastructure had not evolved with its size. Human waste flowed from homes into cesspits, drains, and open gutters, eventually spilling into the River Thames. The same river that supplied drinking water was now a dumping ground for sewage, industrial chemicals, and animal remains. Cholera and the invisible killer. Before the Great Stink, London had already suffered repeated waves of cholera outbreaks, killing tens of thousands. Most authorities believed in the miasma theory, the idea that disease spread through foul air. But one man, John Snow, challenged this belief. Through careful investigation, he traced a deadly outbreak to a contaminated water pump, proving that cholera spread through polluted water, not smell. The summer that changed everything. The summer of 1858 was unusually hot, intensifying the already unbearable conditions along the Thames. As water levels dropped, raw sewage became concentrated, releasing a suffocating stench across the city. The smell infiltrated homes, businesses, and even the Palace of Westminster. Lawmakers, unable to endure the conditions, suspended parliamentary sessions, an unprecedented disruption of government. Crisis in the halls of power. Curtains soaked in chloride of lime were hung in Parliament in a desperate attempt to neutralize the odor. But nothing worked. The smell was too powerful, too pervasive. For the first time, the ruling class directly experienced the consequences of London's sanitation crisis. What had long been ignored as a problem of the poor now demanded immediate action at the highest level. The visionary engineer. Amid the chaos emerged a man with a radical solution, Joseph Bazalgette. As chief engineer of London's Metropolitan Board of Works, he proposed a network of underground interceptor sewers. His idea was simple but revolutionary. Divert waste away from central London before it could reach the Thames. It would be one of the most ambitious engineering projects ever attempted. Building the impossible. Construction began under immense pressure. The city needed a solution, and fast. Bazalgette's design included over 1,300 miles of sewers, massive pumping stations, and embankments along the Thames. Millions of bricks were laid with precision, forming tunnels large enough for workers to walk through. Despite limited technology, the system was built to last for generations. Engineering genius in action. Bazalgette accounted for future population growth, doubling the capacity of his designs beyond immediate needs. This foresight ensured the system would remain functional for over a century. The sewers intercepted waste before it entered central waterways, redirecting it downstream. It was not just infrastructure, it was a transformation of how cities could function. The end of the stink and cholera. As the sewer system became operational, the Thames slowly began to recover. More importantly, cholera outbreaks declined dramatically. The link between clean water and public health became undeniable. London had survived, but only by completely reinventing its relationship with waste. A blueprint for the modern world. The success of London's sewer system inspired cities across Europe and beyond. Urban sanitation became a central priority in city planning. Modern sewer systems, water treatment plants, and public health policies all trace their origins to this crisis. The Great Stink had turned disaster into innovation. Lessons written in filth. The crisis revealed a dangerous truth. Ignoring infrastructure can lead to catastrophe. It showed how environmental neglect directly impacts human survival. And it proved that scientific understanding must guide public policy. Above all, it demonstrated that even the most advanced societies are vulnerable to basic failures. The smell that built the future. The Great Stink was more than a moment of discomfort. It was a turning point in human history. It forced a global city to confront its own decay and rebuild itself from below. What began as a crisis of smell became a revolution in engineering, science, and governance. And today, every modern city that runs clean water beneath its streets carries the legacy of that unbearable summer, when London could no longer breathe and the world was forced to change forever.